Hello, YouTube. I thought of an interesting topic to talk about today. I want to talk about Josh Harris. That name might be a little obscure for some people. Maybe some of you have heard of it. Josh Harris is an internet entrepreneur, primarily from the 90s. He was one of the first people to recognize the value as well as the danger of the internet. He conducted two extremely publicized experiments um, based around surveillance culture. One of which was he set up a bunch of cameras in his apartment, an apartment which he lived with his girlfriend in, and it was called We Live in Public. Now, I'm talking about eating, shitting, having sex, all the private things that you do in your house, he was doing in public. All this was broadcast on TV and on the internet. And the second experiment was he set up a bunker with a bunch of artists all living together, kind of one of the first Big Brother kind of documentary style shows. And he was the first to recognize where society was headed with this new technology. He's had some interesting interviews since those experiments. He lost a lot of his money that he made when the internet was first coming about. He made millions of dollars on live streaming video sites, social networking sites, and he lost a lot of that while he was doing these experiments. He's quoted as saying, "The internet is like this new human experience, and at first everyone is going to love it. But there will be a fundamental change in the human condition, and one day everyone will wake up and realize that we're just servants, that it has captured us." And that is a scary thought, because we're so close to that, and some people are experiencing it. All these sites like, sorry, that's my phone. All these sites like Facebook, YouTube, especially MySpace, they're all geared to letting people have their 15 minutes of fame every day, and it can be addictive. He said himself that the experiment in which he set up cameras in his apartment with his girlfriend, every time people would be watching him in his everyday life, and he could feel the eyes on him, and he could feel them taking bits of himself. He could feel his viewers taking bits of himself, and that's what kind of spurred the name Harvesting Me. He felt like he was a crop, a product that everyone was consuming, and in essence he was. He also made an interesting statement about the experiment in the bunker with the artists, and he said, in this experiment, everything was provided to these artists. Where they stayed, what they were eating, everything was free. So he was quoted as saying, "Everything is free except the video we capture of you. That we own." And that is a scary prospect. People underestimate what that really means, especially when you're living just your life. These videos aren't set up. There's no formula to them. They're candid cameras all over the house. They capture everything. And that is it's really scary. And he predicted everyone becoming slaves to this new technology, the internet. And it's true. Have any of you guys, I'm at uni and we have wireless internet here. And one weekend, our wireless cut out. It was anarchy. People were freaking out. They were like, "I can't live without the internet." And I gotta say, I was guilty of it too. I didn't know what to do with myself. I felt like I couldn't leave my dorm room until I got the problem resolved. Even though, like, I could go out and I could forget about it for like a few hours, I could go do something else, I felt like I couldn't leave until my mind was at rest, that when I came back I would have internet. How insane is that? And then that just got me thinking, like, just 20 years ago, nobody had this. And it's taken hold of people, and it's addictive. He In this documentary, he talks about how these cameras and everyone watching him has he can feel it taking his soul, taking the humanity out of him, and yet he can't turn the cameras off. He refuses to. It's this strange self-destructive addiction. Not to say that everyone, like, here I am sitting in front of my webcam, um, doing a lot of the same thing, but it's a fine line between a help and a hindrance to somebody's life. And yeah, that whole idea of surveillance culture, there's some parallels to be drawn with books, books such as 1984, um, where people's privacy is stripped from them using surveillance. Granted that these experiments were voluntary, he chose to do them, but in the end they kind of consumed him. And I see on a very small scale that happening to people nowadays with these sites like Facebook, like YouTube, um, where people feel that urge to check them every day. If they can't get to the internet, they freak out. Like, it's really it's really a strange culture that's developed around the internet, considering that it's still so new in the grand scheme of things. So, and that brings up some interesting questions as to where the future of social technology will go next. So, I guess I'll leave you with that loaded question. Let me know what you guys think about that. I think it's really interesting.